Welcome to this explainer. Today, we are putting on our hard hats and getting right to work. We're taking some seriously complex organizational theory and transforming it into a literal step-by-step how-to guide for building a modern school. So whether you're building completely from scratch, or maybe you're just renovating an existing institution, consider this your ultimate practical playbook.
Think about this for a second. Why do some schools run like a well-oiled machine while others just feel like total chaos? You probably know the feeling, right? New initiatives constantly stall out, communication completely breaks down between departments, and nobody actually seems to know who is in charge of what. Well, the secret to fixing that chaos doesn't lie in just hiring different people. It actually lies deep within the structural bones and the culture of the place itself.
To fix it, we'll be following 4 distinct phases of construction today. Draft your blueprint, cultivate your culture, integrate your tech, and finally, build ecosystems.
Let's dive right into Step 1, draft your blueprint.
Here is your very first instruction as head architect. Map out exactly how decisions are currently being made in your building. You have to actively choose a framework right from the start. This is absolutely crucial because it dictates how information flows, and it really defines whether your school is going to be a rigid fortress or a highly agile structure capable of adapting to rapid changes in education. For example, consider the classic hierarchical structure. That's your stable pyramid with strict top-down control. Think of a massive traditional public school district. If a teacher has a brilliant new curriculum idea, it has to slog through 5 different levels of administration before it ever hits a classroom. It is incredibly slow to adapt. Now contrast that with the network structure. Imagine independent microschools or online learning providers forming these really fluid, agile partnerships based purely on specific student needs, rather than having everyone report to one central boss. It's so much more responsive.
Then there's the functional structure. Think of a university divided into specialized silos, kind of like a pie chart: arts, sciences, engineering. It's great for grouping your experts together, but your instruction here is to actively watch out for communication walls. What if a new robotics project needs scientists and artists to collaborate? They might be completely walled off from each other. On the flip side, the divisional structure gives each campus or department its very own autonomous kingdom, complete with its own budget. Decisions happen much faster here for sure, but as the architect, your mandate is to force cross-communication between these kingdoms. Otherwise, you risk total fragmentation. Okay, moving on to Step 2. Cultivate your culture. So, organizational culture is defined as the shared values, beliefs, and behaviors that really shape how people interact and work together. The wild thing is, you can literally have 2 schools with the exact same functional blueprint on paper, but completely different realities on the ground. One might be wildly innovative and collaborative, while the other is incredibly traditional and frankly fearful. And this intangible personality directly impacts everything from teacher morale to student success.
I love how our source material puts this. They note, it's like the difference between a plant thriving in sunlight and one wilting in the shade. As you build your institution, you have to actively decide, are you creating an environment where teachers' voices act as sunlight, really encouraging them to try new things, or are you creating an environment that's just totally stifled by the shade of micromanagement?
So how do you practically cultivate this? Well, instruction 1, measure it. And I don't mean just sending out a generic survey. Actually audit a staff meeting. Look around. Who is doing all the talking? How is conflict handled in the break room? Diagnosing those hidden, unspoken assumptions that drive behavior beneath the surface is your crucial first step to fixing a toxic environment. Because, it's not just about what people say, it's about how they act when no one is watching. All right, let's look at Step 3, integrate your technology. Now here is a massive red flag to watch out for. Avoid the gadget trap. Buying 500 shiny new tablets and just dropping them into a rigid, traditional classroom is a guaranteed recipe for very expensive digital worksheets. Technology absolutely requires a culture shift that actively embraces innovation. Think about it. If you introduce hybrid learning, your teachers have to shift from being lecturers at the front of a room to acting as facilitators who actually guide independent learning. Without that fundamental pedagogical shift, the tech is literally useless. So, to guarantee your new digital utility lines actually work, follow this exact 6-part recipe. Think of this as your literal step-by-step checklist. Number 1, define a clear vision for how tech supports learning. Number 2, select the right tools. Number 3, mandate training. Number 4, build out the infrastructure and bandwidth. Number 5, distribute devices. And finally, number 6, secure sustainable funding. Let me tell you, if you miss even one single step on this list, your digital ecosystem will inevitably collapse.
Now, I want to emphasize that third step, training. It is absolutely non-negotiable. Integrating technology is exactly like learning to drive a car. You need to get the basic mechanics down, sure, but consistent practice is what actually hones the skills. So your instruction here is to mandate ongoing, consistent professional development. A quick one-off seminar at the start of the school year just isn't going to cut it. The training is truly just as critical as the technology itself.
And that brings us to our final phase, Step 4, build learning ecosystems.
The reality is, we're moving dramatically away from that rigid do your time and get a diploma model, and moving toward dynamic living learning ecosystems. What does this look like in practice? It means establishing fluid partnerships, like setting up actual hands-on internships with local businesses. It means weaving your curriculum directly into community centers, connecting students with dedicated industry mentors, and creating highly personalized, lifelong pathways. Education is no longer confined to four walls, guys. Your institutional blueprint must be fluid enough to support that modern reality.
So I'm handing the hard hat over to you now. Take a look around. How is the structure of your institution affecting your outcomes right now? By understanding your architectural blueprint, by diagnosing that unspoken culture, and by integrating tech with real purpose, you now have the tools to start rebuilding. So tell us, what is the very first step you're going to take tomorrow to start building a better future for education?